Almost all Jews in Albania during the Second World War were saved from the Holocaust. Not only were they saved, Albania actually ended up with even more Jews than they started with. This is remarkable, but for the Albanians who helped, it was only natural. Let me explain how the Albanian Code of Honor, BESA, played a vital role in this and also what happened back then. At the time, Albania was occupied by fascist Italy and then later by Nazi Germany. But the Albanian people still refused to cooperate with the occupiers and resisted all their attempts to implement anti Jewish policies. Albania had a very small population of a couple hundred Jews who had already lived there since the second century, but during World War II, more Jews began coming from all over Europe, and when the Italians invaded us in 1939, they realized that they would have to stay in Albania for the duration of the war. They did not realize at the time how lucky they were to have ended up in Albania of all places. And people showed massive courage and compassion by warmly receiving Jewish refugees, offering them food, shelter, and even protection, even at the risk of their own lives. This act of heroism was not limited to any particular group or religion. Albania is a unique example of religious harmony with Muslims, Catholics, Orthodox Albanians, atheists, agnostics, whatever, living together in peace. This illustrates the power of blending the teachings of your faith with the values of your culture and promoting goodness and protecting each other's differences in beliefs. Not only did the people act with kindness, the government even refused to hand over lists of Jews and issued Albanian passports to help them escape as well. Even when Albanian police intercepted Jewish refugees who were fleeing from other countries, they would help them find local Albanians who would take them in as family members. Even when the locals were afraid that the Nazis might find out or discover who they were hiding, they did not give up on their Jewish guests, ever. Instead, they would take them out to remote villages and offer them shelter there instead, and they would bring their guns along with them to protect them. They would obviously stay with them the whole time. They would never leave their side, never accept payment, never reveal their identities, nothing. Even in the face of Nazi threats, actually betraying the Jewish guests would have been considered a great dishonor in the Albanian culture. So usually the whole community would support the families who hosted the refugees. Why? Well, first of all, because these were obviously very good people, but also because of the Kanun law, which is a vital collection of Albanian customs and laws that revolve around our code of honor, the Besa, which can't be translated but means faith, keeping your word, being of honor, basically. Our ancient tradition of hospitality was a widely followed law, especially at that time, that stated that we must offer shelter and protection to anyone who seeks it. The Kanun says, Shtëpia e shqiptarit është e Zotit edhe e mikut, which translates to, the house of the Albanian is of God and of the guest. The Kanun places such a great emphasis on hospitality that it even overrules the more famous blood feuds, Jakmarja, because even during an active blood feud with someone else, if they become a guest, they are entitled to your protection and shelter in your home. And yes, this has actually happened. For example, during war times where Albanians would simply swear a besa with each other and taking guests even if they had an active blood feud with them, and they would protect their guests at all costs. Even if they had to kill them later, they would still protect them. If you want to learn more about this, and especially how Muslims were helping Jews, this act of heroism is showcased in an exhibition by the World Holocaust Remembrance Center called The Besa, a Code of Honor, which features photographs and stories taken by photographer Norman Gershman of Muslim Albanian families who actually sheltered Jewish refugees or their descendants. Through this exhibition, visitors can see how the Besa allowed the Albanian people to protect their Jewish neighbors and guests from the horrors of the Holocaust. It is also available online, so I will provide the link in the comments and hopefully also here. And if you want to restore your faith in humanity or just have a little cry, go read the short stories. There's also a beautiful ending to this as well. In 1999, during the war with Serbia, The Jews returned the favor actually by airlifting Albanian refugees and providing them with medical care, food, and accommodation. It all came full circle when the descendants of an Albanian family stayed with the descendants of the same Jewish family that they had sheltered during the Holocaust. It's such a beautiful story. So, have a nice day. I hope you learned something.